Hey guys, how are you doing? Some of you might have been asking how I've been liking the game so far. And I have probably over, I would say 12 hours into the game already. And I think now that is a good time to make my first impression about the game. Like telling you what I like so far. Things I maybe think are a little bit like not the greatest or could be improved. And just to give you an idea how the game really is after like playing the game or just a little bit. And in general, as the first impression of the game for a tech test, I have to say Arknights Endfield feels like a really good game, and it truly is. There's a few things that I might not like, but overall, let's go by one. And the first thing I would want to talk about is the biomes, for example. I like the terrain, how it is. And if you just look at the frame right now and just look around, you can probably see that the game looks really smooth. And the terrain, it really looks cool with like the grass and everything. I really like it. I think it's cool. And it's like, it's kind of open world, but it kind of is an open world, right? And so you have your areas which you can fully explore, but it's not like you have like this one big world and you can just walk in this big world around everything like a Genshin is. Which, it's like a Borderlands style if you played Borderlands, but I really like it this way. I don't see this as a minus or a plus. I'm neutral to it, so it doesn't need to be like this one world. I'm glad if it's like multiple different sections and it works the way it works. And if it comes to like exploration, which comes hand in hand with terrain, if it doesn't look that good to like walk around, if like the place doesn't look that nice to just walk around, obviously it's not as fun anymore. But like the place looks really cool, and the cool thing about exploring in this game is like it feels rewarding. You might say because like this part here is supposed to be like kind of wasteland. It kind of is, but it doesn't matter where you go. Most of the places have something. For example here, there is a chest I opened earlier. And there's so many things you can just go around to like random sections and you find stuff. If you go and walk around in the place, it feels rewarding, it feels fun to do, and it feels like you get rewarded for it. Which is fire. And also if it comes to enemies as well. In Genshin, if you, like I compare it to Genshin because it's the closest game that is similar to it, right? If you go around and just beat random enemies, what I found interesting is you get experience from it. Like you can actually level a little bit by just killing enemies, which is a cool thing. So it feels rewarding to just go around, kill random enemies, and continue with the exploration. It's not like you need to dodge every enemy because you know things that they drop and the XP they give you is not worthy. It truly makes sense to just like beat random enemies. You can get very cool stuff from the game. At least so far. Maybe late game, right? It doesn't make any sense anymore to kill enemies. But for where I am right now in the game and as far as it's developed, it looks like that it makes sense to just like kill the enemies that you see in the open world. So that I think is a pretty fire thing. As well as the music obviously comes in hand. And the music really gives like this very cool, mysterious vibe that when you walk around, it just feels mysterious and fun and cool. And you don't really know what to expect. There aren't really any amazing bell soundtracks I've seen so far. Like, I really hope that when a bell starts, that they have maybe one or two soundtracks that just randomly pop out, and they're like, oh wow, that's so cool. Like, for example, if I go into a bell now, I'm not saying like the quality is bad, but like, it's just your classic bell music. Also, I'm over level for them. But it's like your classic bell music that sounds good, but it's not like, wow, I'm banging with that song. So that is something they could also maybe need some work. I would appreciate maybe one or two fire soundtracks as well. Another thing is like characters. Characters is a really big thing in most gacha games. If the characters aren't good, why would you even play the gacha game in the first place? And for me, I personally think it kinda is at the moment its weakness. And I say this because when I look at my characters right now, right? The one I like the most is Angelina. She's pretty much a character that got copied from Arknights normally, right? So it's not a new character design. And I think she's the best looking character. Next is Chen, which is pretty much a parody of a character that already exists in the original Arknights. And the only character I consider like truly like good character design from the new characters is Amber. Amber has an amazing character design. I swear to God, it's not because of just the boobs. It really is a cool design. It stands out to me. I like to see her. There's a reason why I have her on right now. She's fire. But if I go further, right? It's a good design in itself. I like her. The thing is, it's a bit bland with already the really dark background and everything. She doesn't really manages to stand out to me. Like, she just vanishes in kinda in the background. She doesn't look like colorful enough for me. It's like she kinda disappears. And many characters are like in this dark tone, which are kinda disappearing this entire landscape, which I think is kinda sad. I wish they would start to create at least some more colorful characters. Especially like Arknights is known, or Hyperglyph is known to create so many cool characters that I have to say, most of the characters I have right now feel pretty mid. And so I would wish we would get to see like some upgrades for that in the future. Another thing I want to talk about is like the main character as well. Now, I already recorded this earlier in the stream, and I thought like I can use this footage. But because I kinda didn't think out my thoughts, I kinda rambled about stuff that I couldn't really argue well enough. And so what I said is like the main character. While I know most games have a main character that are not too interesting, and very early on, I already said like, fuck the administrator. She doesn't really have anything cool about her, besides that her fights are super thick. Other than that, she is kinda boring character. And the worst thing of all is, right, you can't really connect with her in the story because you don't even see her eyes. Right? It's like, maybe Lumina also is like a basic design, but at least for Lumina, you kinda saw like her expressions and stuff like that. I cannot really connect with the administrator in this game because it's just like she has a plain design. I don't want her to use her on my own free will. And it's like I can't really put myself in her position without even seeing her face. And it's kind of sad to me that this is like what it is. And I just wish that she's more relatable. And since she doesn't even have like a voice, for me she's like just a character that is somehow the main character, but like she doesn't add anything to the story for me. And I think that could certainly be improving quite a lot. As for the story, since I streamed the game on YouTube and Twitch at the same time, and I always had to like be careful about like what I read and stuff, I couldn't really immerse myself in the story. But what I saw is like I've been playing the game for about 12 hours, something in that direction. Don't quote me on that. But like there wasn't really like a big impact that like grabbed you into the story that you needed to continue like listening to the story or reading the story. Everything is like, a lot of things are voice acted. Super like insane how much is already voice acted, and the voice acting is really good. But I need like this impact in the beginning that it's like, oh, I need to continue reading the story. Like, I read Arknights' story in the beginning as well, the normal Arknights. And it just kind of misses like the grab, like the reason why you need to continue reading the story. And so if a lore person starts Arknights Endfield for themselves and are like, oh yeah, I don't really know why I read the story. It's nothing really happened interesting like the past 10 hours. Why would I continue reading? It's like, it needs this grab effect. I feel like that would be fire. But if it comes to voice acting and everything, super well. Like, the game is doing so well. Like, I will be playing it on JP voice acting if it comes out in that language. But for what I've seen from the English voice acting, many have very great voices. There was never really a character that I couldn't really relate to beside the main character. But like, voice acting wise, really cool. Also, character NPC wise, there is not a single annoying character. It's very nice to see the characters in these cutscenes. The animations are super clean. The facial expressions, in my opinion, are really good. Maybe Prolica is like suffering a little bit there. But like, certainly there's something that could be, like, Prolica could be improving, but the rest really is pretty fire. Good thing for me is like, there's no Paimon. There's no character that you're like annoyed to see on the screen, which I think is a huge bonus for me. So character NPC wise, I'm pretty happy. Now, there is one thing any game needs for me, and that is like a signature thing. A thing that it's like you immediately connect it to like a game. And for this game, which I think it's well done, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. Like, I'm a big fan of it, but there needs to be another signature thing. I'm talking about the base. Like, the one thing which makes the game stand out to like any other competitor, like Genshin or whatever, is it has like a satisfactory base system where you can optimize this thing like crazy. Like, I can fill in like here bottles, and I can fill in like this trash and this trash, and now it crafts me items that I can use to like either craft cool gear. That this, I'm using the gear I craft here. This is not trash gear, this is actually good gear. And so I'm crafting the gear in this base that I can use for this. I can also farm later on like operator XP in this base. I can also, like, if I craft more materials that I haven't had before, I can upgrade with that my base. I can make my base even more efficient, better, and cooler. which is fire. I can increase the power grid on how many things I can place on there. I can have mining, right? There's mining spots. For example, here, I can turn this on and it mines crystals for me that gets transported to the depot, which automatically goes into my base here. That goes its surrounding, produces me materials I need. And you can fully automize this shit. It's wild. You see right now, I still have 89 out of 100. And I could improve this. I could also, I think, increase the area I can build things on. I saw that in Kyosin's stream. But like, you can fully increase this. And the base system is super wild. And since it's like, this is like, maybe scary for some, but like, it feels like this is a one-time thing. You do like your base, you set it up. Once you have done all the setup, you watch maybe a guy for like 30 minutes to the better setup that took like an hour or whatever. And then you are able to have like this base running forever, and it will be just continue running, and you won't have to do anything with it anymore. At least this is how it feels like it. Maybe I'm getting proven wrong, maybe the ad changes, but this is from what I've seen how it ends up working. There's also different mining spots you can do and stuff like that. So you can fully automize this base. I like it. It's fun. It's a cool base. It feels like the base from Arknights finally came out of beta, and this is how it looks like. So, fire thing. And it's very complicated, but also it's understandable, but also complicated. It's something you can immerse yourself into, and it's super fun to do because you can be so creative about it. I like this. Fire thing, cool thing. But as I previously said, this is the signature, but it's not what the signature is supposed to be for a gacha game. I feel like there should be something in like the combat or in like the just in the game itself that should be like, that is good, that is like, oh yeah, that is definitely that game. That I wish should be more prevalent. And since we are talking about the combat now, since I haven't showed you anything about its combat, let's just start with it now. We're gonna travel to a place that I've been to, yes, but like a certain area I haven't been to yet. And so I can show you like how it feels to the boss, to do like battles and stuff. And there's like an enemy, like I haven't fully explored it, but there's like an enemy that I have not beaten, that even like beat my ass before. Let's just walk to that dude. And while we're walking, one thing that I mentioned in the exploration, that I didn't mention in the exploration, is like enemies as well. The enemies are insanely cool placed. Like you can explore random sections. Everything is like, every enemy is like level 25, right? And you out of nowhere, an enemy is like level 60, level 40. And you can try to beat this enemy, but like you most of the time you have no chance. So there is most of the time also chests around the enemy, which like if you are somehow able to get there, you get like awesome rewards. And so you don't always have to like trigger the enemy, right? You can maybe try to sneak around. Like it doesn't trigger here. If I'm very sneaky, it doesn't see me if I'm behind him. And so that is super fire that like I could now try to get this without having to engage in the fight. And then like run away, whatever. But since we also want to display the bell, it's also a good time. So, the bell itself is also very interesting. It doesn't have like a charge attack, or it doesn't have like a dodge right now. I think there's something called a quick dash, but I don't know how to do it. Like I haven't seen it in the tutorial. All evidence of it I've seen is in the freaking survey I had to fill out. But like I can use now a skill, right? I can do now some attacking. It dealt like a shit ton of damage. And now I just like use my skills one by one. I shouldn't use up all the skills at the same time, mainly because if I do, I have now no way of like dodging or like interrupting the enemy with its attacks. And you need those skills to be able to prevent him from attacking you with like certain attacks. And since you see me, I'm being dogshit here, I am struggling. That boss is insanely strong. And it might, like, I'm struggling here, not because I'm under-leveled. Like, I'm level 50, level 40, level 50 and level 40. You see, he's like, I think level 45, right? He's annihilating me. That's because I'm not paying attention. And it's not brain dead battle. Like, you really have to think about what you're doing. And you need to be careful, like, that your team makes sense all together. That you can, like, break them. That you can, like, put them to the ground, like, knock them down. And, like, to explain it simply on how it works is, like, if we go to, like, a little bit more approachable enemies. Most of the enemies here have, or, like, enemies, every enemy, that is a rule, has a... By the way, healing is also super convenient. Every enemy in this has a break bar. And if you attack them enough with like skills, they get a break. And in that time, they're stunned. We saw it before as well, but I didn't know that, point it out. But once I break them, they deal, like, I can deal damage to them without them attacking me. For example, with like the level 38 here, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. Like here we have it on the ground. Now we lift it up and we can do easy attack without him having a chance to attack us. And if you use the ult, like your abilities enough times, you can use something called ults. Or like, it's ults, right? And they deal a shit ton of damage. And with that, you have a way higher, like, you deal way more damage. And you also have to make sure you know what your ults do, so your entire team combination makes sense. And so it's kinda is not a brain dead bell system. I only wish there would be like another way to dodge attacks than like jumping and like maybe using a skill to interrupt enemy attack. So something like a dodge or like just a dodge would just add so much. Apparently there's something called a quick dodge. I haven't seen or found it. There's no shift for me. Like I can run with shift, but like there's no dodge ability for me. I don't know. And so I feel like that is something that could be improved a lot as well if they would add something like this. But all in all, I am very happy with the gameplay. The enemy design, you saw it before, is also cool. I think it matches the theme well. It is like super well designed enemies. I'm very happy with it. They feel also like the variety of the enemies also feels very nice. So I'm not complaining about that either. Also, you see my team is pretty much dead because I suck. But yeah, it feels very nice. So we can again like do this thread where we put them down, lift them up. And because Ange is like skilled on damage and she does like a shit ton of damage, it's like very pleasant to use her. She's a caster, so now that I don't have any skills available and I only have 2 characters still alive, it's pretty much a button smasher. So you gotta be careful. Always use the skill when you need them and like be careful about using your skills. If you use all of them immediately, it's just a button smasher and most of the time it's also not an efficient way of playing it. But yeah, all in all, I'm very happy with its gameplay. All in all, I am pretty satisfied with how it is at the moment. As for things I didn't like really didn't like, is that it feels a bit chunky game, like as movement-wise. Like there, I believe you could get some improvements done as well. That is where I realized, like for example, when I do like precise jumping stuff, right? When I try to glitch, yes, you're not supposed to try to glitch. But like, for example, if I'm on an excavator, right? In some jumping puzzles they had. You see, I moved a little bit to the right, right? There was one little tiny tip-tap to the right. Tip-tap to the right here. Look how far she moves. It's wild. So if I'm here, right? And I want to tiny adjust to the right. Only I want to look to the right. I do this. It's okay. It kind of bugged there. But like, most of the time, like tiny movements move really far. Like, you see, this was like one movement. And I don't know how they want to do it on phone. But you have like this walking mode where you can do precise movements like this, right? Like this. That's cool. Problem is, if you are in a jumping puzzle, right? Where you have to quickly jump from here to here, which I just tried to do. Making tiny adjustments and everything every time to go into the walking mode doesn't feel optimal. So now I would have to go into walking mode, make the adjustment that I face the right way, and now I can jump. Now I suck at jumping, but like, you know what I mean. And so this is something I wish they would also maybe put some focus on to improve it a little bit. But one thing I also really think is amazing. I said it before, the world is not balanced through your level. So it like if you go to a place you're not supposed to go to, you encounter enemies that are way higher level than you're supposed to fight against. And that's fine. That is just cool. I love the kind of stuff. Maybe I can showcase it because I can soon craft bombs in the base. And I am currently level 40 and 50. So, once I'm able to craft the bombs, I could have, if I wanted to and if I would have known how, I could have crafted the bomb probably with like level 20 or 30. There is an enemy down here that is quite a high level that I can reach once I can craft the bombs. And let me just show you what their freaking level of it is. So, you see that enemy down there, right? Look at the level. I can soon craft bombs. That shit is level 60. I got annihilated by level 40, by the way, before. Or level 45. Which I'm supposed to be able to fight already, technically. They are hard. Like, this is... I can encounter this early on. I can already, like, get the stuff if I would be able to encounter this early on. if I am able to sneak around it. Maybe like there's a chest, like there's a mining thing there. Maybe if I'm far in the base, I can already take a look at this. But like, it's very cool that like, you're so free. You can go wherever you want and like levels are not matched. And that really adds something to the exploring experience. All in all, I'm very happy with how the game is. There's only a few minor things that I dislike. Maybe like a more captivating story and the things I previously mentioned. But it has a lot of potential. It is only in the tech phase. Keep that in mind. It's the tech test. It's not a beta or whatever. That is not how the final version is gonna be. Also, gacha wasn't a thing yet because the developers want that we can try out all the characters without having to rely on luck, like the Genshin beta, where only was able to try like maybe 1 or 2 5-stars. Since how else would you get Primogens? How else would you get pulls? You need to get lucky, and if you didn't get lucky, you were fucked. So like this was better for us tech tester. I don't know how how much it matters to have like polls and everything, but the way it is right now, it is promising. A lot of things will change. Like they had a CN tech test as well. Lots of things will change once it's over, and I really wonder how the final version is gonna be. So even if you feel like when watching this, it wasn't looking good, keep in mind that things might change, things might get better. And if you have anything you're worried about, right? Let me know in the comments, because I might get interviewed by someone that is like working there and I can give my opinion about it. And if there's something I agree with in the comments, like I will read every comment, you can let me know. I will, if I like it, if I agree with you, I will also implement this as well. And I will let them know in the interview. And if I get lucky, I might be able to upload the interview as well. So I really pray for that. But all in all, I really like exploring, and you see, the stuff I'm getting here feels very nice, right? That's blue-green stuff. That was like a random box. It feels rewarding. It feels cool to just go around. It's stuff that actually makes sense. And I'm also, my bag is full. It's also something I struggle with all the time. You can just like quickly, I don't want to get rid of that. What do I want to get rid of? Doesn't matter. Like, you can do it quickly. It's nice. It's a good game. It's promising. I don't know when it releases, but even if it would release in a state like this, I would probably already be satisfied. Like, it's a very good game, very addictive, and even if they would not include any gacha in this game, they would make it payable. I wouldn't mind it. Like, who would care? One-time purchase for like a fun game. Maybe add gacha, but only gacha you can pay for it, right? That would also be fire. But all in all, fire game. I really enjoyed it. Angelina is super fire. Look at the cute girl. Also, like, if you go to Angelina, like, look at this. Oh, look at the skills. I just like her. She's cool. And so with that, I hope you liked this little first impression. I hope you got yourself, or you were able to make yourself a quick pick on like how the tech test feels. I might make like a second video of like my final thoughts. But so far, I am very happy with it. There are some things that could need some work, but I hope you are mostly agreeing with some of the takes I did. Maybe some of them you disagree with, obviously, or what, everyone has like different opinions. But for me, I would say this was everything. And with that, I would say have a nice one, and bye bye Sensei, have a nice one. And see ya!